For my book response, I read the book Guts, a graphic novel by Raina Telgemeier. I decided to focus the theme on diverse perspectives for my video diaries. In the beginning of the book, I was really able to learn a lot about the central character, Raina, by following her thoughts through the captions and thought bubbles that expressed how conscious she was of herself and the environment around her. The images in each panel were impactful as they synergistically created and reinforced meaning in a way that the text by itself wouldn't have been able to. Here's an example on page 11. This synergy was effective in being able to feel the intensity of the main character's emotional state. And as Rudman and Botello have said, children's books can be tools for discussing social and emotional issues, especially as the aesthetic qualities of a text can engage us emotionally and experientially. The use of onomatopoeia, specific uses of color, and changes in the font size of the text for different emphasis all contributed to this. As there were no divided chapters, this created a sense of continuous time, and this really put the time and the pace of the book at the hands of the readers. As Yang has said in his TED Talk, in a comic, the past, present, and future all sit side by side on the same page, and this means that the rate of information flow is firmly in the hands of the reader. What's that you're eating for lunch today? Dog food? Whatever, Michelle. This is kimbap and chumokbap. My mom made it. It's really good. In the middle parts of the book, I started to notice how different perspectives of other characters in the story were included. For example, Raina, the main character's best friend, is Jane, who is Korean, and in the scene that Raina visits her house, their family's culture at home and what their dinner at the table looks like is given separate attention and even labeled in detail. As the food is described in a positive light, this reminds me of how books should be mirrors in which children of underrepresented groups should see parts of their identities reflected back at them in a positive light. This reminds me of the scene from The Day You Begin by Jacqueline Woodson, where a character is self-conscious about bringing to school her cultural food. Likewise, the author from this book, Guts, uses elements of the comic book to challenge the idea of the single story through food. Nearing the end of the book, I noticed that another way a different perspective was shown throughout the book was the main character, Raina's, meeting with a child therapist. Raina's encounter with the therapist allows her to start to try to articulate her feelings, voice, and share her story. Again, this challenges the single narrative of prejudice and stigma around child therapy and encourages a space for readers to think about their own anxiety and mental health as they transition from childhood to puberty to young adulthood. According to the keyword text we read about childhood, we would do better at tending to real needs and situations of children if we were to forego our miraculous faith in any essential or singular idea of childhood. Alternatively, books like these are not just a mirror, but also a window for young children undergoing similar insecurities and fears in their relationships with their own bodies and with others, as the main character sees a progression of overcoming her own fears. The graphic novel form really gives the student the remote control as they navigate the diverse perspectives that are involved in this process. This proves how comics can be a powerful visual and restoring tool to give young readers new perspectives and confidence in who they are and who they can become.